Hello and welcome to Euronet Plus. Today, during our monthly program with the European Policy Center, we focus on Cyprus. During the ongoing elections happening now in the north of the island, the Turkish-occupied area, the question over the relaunch of peace talks and negotiations is highlighted. And to discuss this, I'm with Amanda Paul, expert policy at the European Policy Center. Hello.
Hi, Leticia.
Hello and welcome. So, yesterday, the Turkish Cypriots voted for the first round for the elections in the north part, and they are going to vote during the next Sunday on April 26. But the United Nations already warned that maybe when the elections will be over, the relaunch of talks may happen really soon, even in May. Do you also expect this?
I think it's very clear this is necessary because the talks have been stalled now for several months for many reasons. And both the Greek Cypriots and the Turkish Cypriots have shown a will to start as soon as possible. This is backed up, as you said, by the United Nations. Whether it will be at the beginning of May or later on in the month remains to be seen, but definitely they will be back talking very soon.
But don't you think that after 40 years, for more than 40 years, and over disputes, do you think this is going, it's not a bit too optimistic to think about a deal soon?
Well, both sides say they're committed to a bi-communal, bi-federal solution. The point is, if you don't have negotiations, what else? Cyprus can't be independent. The international community wants ongoing talks. They want reunification, and neither side has said they will walk away from the table. So yes, I think they will continue to talk to this end.
And do you think, the Greek Mr. President, Greek Cypriot President, Mr. Anastasiades, is ready to relaunch the talks even after he interrupted the negotiation last October following a dispute of offshore shale gas?
He interrupted the negotiations because of the arrival of a Turkish research vessel into the exclusive economic zone of Cyprus. But he's made it clear that once the withdrawal would take place, which it has done now, the Greek Cypriots would return to the negotiating table. And that is what's going to happen.
And what are the main problems, to remind our public, what are the main problems between the two divided areas?
Well, the Cyprus problem, you have a number of difficult thorny issues. For example, you have security. You have 40,000 Turkish soldiers in the north of the island. This needs to be fully resolved. Also, the issue of security guarantors, which also belongs to Turkey, Greece and the UK, because the Greek Cypriots are obsessed with a threat coming from Turkey, which is only a few kilometres across the ocean. You also have issues related to property on both sides of the island, territory which once belonged to the Greek Cypriots or Turkish Cypriots in the past, and the issue of governance, because the future United Cyprus will be governed by both Greek Cypriots and Turkish Cypriots, and there is still some issue among the Greek Cypriot community, concerns. They're not happy about the idea of having Turks also involved in governance of the island, and this needs to be sold to them as a positive thing.
And Cyprus has been, the southern of Cyprus has been a European member since 2004. Do you think this relaunch of talks will help Turkey to adhere to the European Union? If there is any peace talks or if there is any reunification soon?
Well, the Cyprus problem is the biggest obstacle in Turkey's accession talks. If the problem was to be resolved, it would open the way for Turkey because it currently blocks about 10 or more negotiating chapters. That doesn't mean that it will be any easier for Turkey to join, but the way will be open. They'll be able to negotiate, which should add momentum to the relationship between Turkey and the EU, so it would be very positive, and also more broadly for peace and security in the Eastern Mediterranean.
So last question, what are you expecting now after the next one of the elections?
Well, that's $1 million question. Of course, whoever gets elected, there'll be a different perspective because, for example, Mr. Mustafa Akinci, he is exceptionally pro-European, pro-reunification. So I would probably see a more robust, more driving policy towards a deal than from Mr. Erolu, who is historically known as being quite a hardliner. Of course, he hasn't always shown that in the talks, but I think people have in their minds that Mustafa Akinci is more likely to drive home a deal. But it all depends on where the votes go of the parties that didn't get in, Kudret Özesaray or Madame Sibel. That will be the crucial factor here.
Thank you, Amanda, for coming, and thank you for following us. Bye. See you next time.